Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special episode for you. Okay, so yeah, I know the event's over. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn this down a bit. Today's date is August 5th. Last weekend, Tetris, or the proprietors of Tetris 99, decided to hold the 48th Maximus event in the style of Donkey Kong Bonanza, the game in which we're playing. So I thought maybe I'd take the opportunity to just show this off in this episode. Now, if this isn't the episode you want to see, if this isn't something that's right up your alley, then feel free to discard this and watch another episode, watch another video if you want. But as for me, I'm going to take the opportunity to play this and tell you a little bit about what's going on here. So, anyway, I'm a few episodes in. Now, I want to address a few things that you might have been asking about. And, yeah, so I touched on it briefly in my videos of Bonanza about the condition of my dog. At least as of this recording, again, August 5th, our dog is actually doing a lot better since his latest hospital visit. So, suffice to say, no, my dog is not dead or dying right now, thankfully. And, in case there was any confusion, I did not make that... I guess you could call it premature on my part for creating such a video. Well, actually, no, I didn't actually broadcast it, but yeah, I made back in, late July, I made a video that was meant to be an update video that, my dog might be passing away. But again, as of this recording, the dog's doing a hell of a lot better now. So, if I mentioned it in any of the episodes of Donkey Kong Bonanza about my dog, I do apologize. I was not trying to garnish sympathy or confuse my audience. Let's see. Well, I guess that's all I pretty much have to say on that regard. I also want to touch base on, what I plan on doing in the future for the channel. Part of me wants to... as it is right now, by the time you see this video, I've already started uploading, 2 videos at a time, right? So... I'm not entirely sure. I'm probably going to upload this maybe soon-ish. It's probably going to be in between I don't know, I think after episode 15 you might see this, which could be sometime in September or October for all I know. I am planning on so, by the time you watch this video, I'll probably have already started playing a new Let's Play. I was kind of thinking about the Kirby one, honestly. Actually, no, I think I'll probably upload this Tetris video, maybe next week from now, so it's still relevant. But anyway, yeah, so the Kirby video, it's probably gonna be, the Forgotten Land, but the first episodes are probably going to be in the Switch 1 version. I'm not sure yet if I want to do the Switch 2 version, and tackle that DLC when it comes out. In fact, I'm not even sure if Nintendo is going to have raise a stink about it. So far, they're not raising a stink about Donkey Kong, so I don't know. I mean, as I said before, when it comes to YouTube, I think for Nintendo, YouTube's kind of a double-edged sword, you know? Like, they could go after people who are uploading videos, but, you know, specifically videos that, you know, after the game has already been published and available to the public, but then they'd kind of lose out on free advertising, right? I mean, I think Nintendo probably would want people to actually see the game and play it for themselves. So, inherently, if you're watching a video online of someone playing a game, you might want to consider it like a spoiler alert, like an inherent spoiler alert for a game that you may or may not be able to afford yourself. And of course, you know, no two playthroughs are alike, and you know, my videos are not necessarily a comprehensive, not all my videos are necessarily going to be a comprehensive guide. There's always going to be someone out there who's going to do way better at it, way better at this than I ever could, so, you know, so there is that. Yeah, so, also, another thing about me is that, my birthday is actually coming up in August 30th, and, you know, I'm not entirely sure how to feel about it. I mean, I do have some reservations. Now, I could, about, you know, me and my current living arrangement, you know, I could tell you guys all about it, but that would be telling. So, yeah, suffice to say, I'm not desperate enough to really share that information with you guys. I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm doing this YouTube thing, or rather, why I rebranded this as a Let's Play channel. Because, you know, I'd rather just get rich so I don't have to, you know, cause any drama on my way out, that's all. After all, I mean, money, or in my case, lack thereof, is the root of all my problems. You know? Now, let me make this perfectly clear. I'm not asking for handouts or donations. I mean, at the time of this recording, I only have about, like, 230-ish followers on YouTube. Nowhere near enough required to be monetized, much less go out of my way to create, like, a Patreon for supporters, you know? I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd like to rather earn your respect, you know? I'd like to earn the right to actually even ask for donations, much less be monetized. As far as the gaming landscape goes, as far as YouTubers go, I mean, like, I'm not entirely sure where in the future it's going to lie, because, I mean, you got all these people who are now desperate and chomping at the bit, you know, trying to make money by trying to get rich by making, bank, you know, doing almost as little as possible. I mean, let me put it this way. Nothing is earned without a little bit of effort, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, nowadays, nobody wants to have trade jobs. Nobody wants to be a farmer. Nobody wants to clean toilets for a living. Nobody wants to be a janitor. Because, well, not only are those jobs degrading, but, you know, they don't pay as well as they used to, you know? I mean, people have collapsed and died. I mean, you see all these videos of people collapsing from exhaustion, you know, trying to run a fast food restaurant by themselves. You know, not eating, not sleeping, working themselves to the bone, you know? I mean, it's kind of... I mean, I don't know. I mean, in a way, I mean, our country, you know, here in America, I mean, we don't have to have, you know, we don't have to have labor laws. We don't have to be worked to death. You know, our own situations kind of force us to work ourselves to death for us, you know? So, again, you know, if you want to help me out, you know, just spread the word about this channel, please. You know, I'd really appreciate it. I mean, again, I didn't want to sound desperate, but there you go, you know? Let's see, what else? I guess I don't really have much else to talk about. I guess we could talk about the I guess we could talk about the Tetris Maximus, I guess. As you know, it's the... I can't believe... I can't believe it's already the 48th Tetris Maximus. I mean, when this thing first kicked off years ago, Nintendo was offering, like, what, the grand prize of, 999 gold points, Which, by the way, gold points, by the time this video comes out, have already been defunct, And, to be fair, I don't think the gold points Nintendo was offering was really, that detrimental to Nintendo. Because you gotta remember, each gold coin was basically 1 penny, right? So if you bought a game, for example, you got, like, physical or digital, you might have been rewarded, say, 300 gold points, which equates to $3, Well, like I said, in order to even make the most use of your gold points, you would have had to have saved them like crazy, like, I don't know, for anyone old enough to remember, do you know what Kool-Aid points are? If you don't worry about it. I mean, they're not a thing anymore, but back then, a lot of people, much like with coupon clipping, people were just collecting those like crazy, And eventually it got to a point where people were collecting them, but, like, the prizes offered just weren't worth the wait, It's kind of like, late 90s, early 2000s, door-to-door school fundraisers, The prizes they offered were, to students who sold the most or whatever, or who sold a bunch, just weren't worth the effort. I mean, yeah, you might get like a spiffy pair of headphones, etc., but, like, time and technology itself kind of just outclasses everything that you ever had when you were a kid, I'm not saying, it wasn't worth it in the moment, but, I mean, at the end of the day, you could call it a learning experience or part of an experience that you'll never have growing up. Kids today, nah, they don't. You guys don't know. You guys will never know the thrill of going door to door like a vacuum cleaner salesman trying to sell, like, popcorn or candy bars, for a school fundraiser, for your school, which more than likely was probably a non-profit organization. So when you really think about it, then what was the whole point of you going door to door, especially when the schools themselves got grants, I mean, if you ask me, I think there should have been more stipulation as far as, like, there should have been, like, more of a watchdog to find out just where the hell the money's going, But I guess that's just one of my biggest rants, I guess. Sometimes I wonder what happened to all the consumer rights protection agencies, Or if we should even have them in the States. Because clearly we need them, right? The way I see it, right, if the price of everything has to go up, I mean, so be it. But here in the States, I think we can all agree that if we have to pay a little bit more, then we should and better well be getting a quality product, right? And furthermore, if you buy something, here in the States, you should own it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not dogging on Nintendo. Let's make that perfectly clear. I mean, back in the day, things were simpler, right? We didn't have online gaming. We didn't have all that, So what you did with your system back in the day, that was your business, I'm not saying what you did was right or wrong, I'm just saying everything was basically like an isolated incident, right? Nowadays, we have online gaming and such. Look, you want to crack down on online cheaters? Fine, fair enough, right? But it seems to me like I remember distinctly back in the, I don't know which console generation it is, but I remember playing a game on the PlayStation 2. You might have heard of it, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Right, well, see, this was back before companies started charging for online gameplay, right? They had, like, online matchmaking lobbies, etc. for, like, an online third-person shooter, right? But anyway, but they also had a single-player component to the game, and the single-player did have, like, cheat codes for it. Now, when I don't mean, like, in-game codes. I mean, like, I used to own this other thing called a codebreaker disc, and I did cheat in the first-player game, you know, in the offline game. But, see, the game itself already contained a protection that could detect, you know, whether or not you had codes enabled, right? You know, and I distinctly remember, you know, taking a break from single player to play online, and, you know, without resetting the console first. And basically I got a prompt message saying, hey, look, we noticed you're playing with codes, you know. You might want to consider, before proceeding further, you might want to consider restarting your console, you know. And, well, I restarted my console because, well, for one, I don't want to get kicked offline, you know. I'm just saying, games back then kind of knew. Games back then, you know, kind of had a little bit more polish back then because they kind of knew, right? They kind of knew that, okay, well, if we're going to have a game and if people are going to hack said game, we got to put in an in-game protection, basically to stop or prevent people from going further if they want to play online, you know? I mean, it just kind of makes you wonder why they don't just do that with modern games today, right? Why don't they just, you know, just simply prevent you from playing online if you're going to try to play with codes enabled, you know? But I digress, you know? Or it's like this whole thing with pirated software, you know? I mean, if Nintendo really wanted to push the... I mean, Nintendo, when they made the Switch 2, you know, they could have just as easily said, yeah, no, we're not doing physical cartridges anymore. You know, tough shit, right? And, you know, we could have had a console without, you know, without the cartridge slot. But now, you know, Nintendo not only gave us one with a cartridge slot, which supposedly allows us to play, which is supposed to allow us to play our old games that still have our cartridge, that are still on a cartridge, right? But now it's gotten to a point where, oh, okay, you're playing a used copy of this game. Okay, well, we'll just brick your system then, you know? I mean, like I said, you know, if Nintendo really didn't want people to play old-style games, then why even have the cartridge slot in the first place, you know? It sounds to me like a clever way of not wanting to, of trying to get more money out of people, you know? Or it's kind of like the left Joy-Con thing. You know, a lot of people are saying that, oh, this isn't fixed, or, oh, now it's impossible for other people to fix this, you know? Which, by the way, I'm sure with time, some people will discover how to fix it. Don't worry about the controllers. So, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying I'm not a fan of planned obsolescence, you know? I mean, look, you want more money, you know, if something breaks, you know, we'll pay it. We'll pay their asking price. But like I said, you know, if we buy something, we want a quality product here in the States, you know? Sorry, not sorry. You know? Again, I'm not dogging on Nintendo. You know, I mean, I love these guys. I mean, I wouldn't be playing this game otherwise, but I'm just saying, you know, some things have just, I mean, you gotta meet the fans and gamers halfway in the middle. I mean, if you want to, I mean, look, if Nintendo wants to prevent, like, say, pirated software, you know, like illegal ROM downloads, then yeah, fine, perfectly fine to, you know, brick a console for that, you know. But again, it goes back to my other argument, you know, if Nintendo really didn't want people to play pirated software, then why even have a cartridge slot that lets people, that pretty much opens that invite? I mean, well, let's take the SD cards, for example. You know, the thing that holds, you know, our save data onto, the games and save data onto. I mean, SD cards, I mean, they already operate like, basically whatever device you put it in, you know, the device itself kind of puts a bit of a code on your SD card, right? Basically to say, okay, basically giving the SD card certain permissions, if you will, on what other devices you can put it into. Like, for example, I think the Express SD card, that is in the Nintendo console right now as I'm playing this game. I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think if I had an adapter for it, I could probably then try to upload, like, say, my photos that I've taken in-game and upload them into my computer. Well, actually, I think I can do that wirelessly, so I don't even need to have a USB cable or whatever, but still, I'm just saying, USB, micro SD cards, SD cards, I mean, they already have protections in place, you know, that whatever device you put it into, like, if it's not, like, if I were to put an SD card a micro express SD card that came from, like, say, an actual camera, right, in my Switch for whatever reason. Well, first of all, the Switch will probably tell me, wait a minute, this isn't... The SD card you're trying to use already has stuff on it. If you want to use this SD card for this system, we have to format your SD card. Basically saying, you know, you want to use this SD card, we're going to have to wipe your card. Is this okay? Yes or no? And if it's not okay, please turn off the console and eject the card now, you know? Like I said, you know, the system, I think, already has protections in place. So, you know, if Nintendo wants to prevent, you know, illegal ROM hacks, all they have to do is stop people at the SD card level, you know? That's really all they have to do. But of course, you know, they're more than welcome to go after people who are trying to play illegal downloads too. I mean, they can always go after those people. As for me, I mean, I don't think I've ever once seen an illegal game, right? I've never touched upon one, I've never played one, and I don't really intend on playing one in the future. I mean, I think the closest thing I've ever seen, like, I mean, I'm talking like years ago, back when I was like, what, 6 or 7? I think I saw a rare, like, Tenjin copy of, like, Pac-Man or something. I don't know. I was at somebody else's house. I don't remember the details. Like I said, I was so young. I mean, this was back before I could even figure out how do you hold a turtle shell in Mario 3, you know? Let's see. Okay, so we're at, like, the 22-minute mark. I think we have time for one more Tetris game here. So what other things can I get off my chest here? I guess I could talk about Donkey Kong's new design, I guess. You know, I gotta admit, it is kind of growing on me, you know? I mean, okay, sure, it's not exactly one for one, the one I'm familiar with, the one we're all familiar with. But, you know, it's similar. I mean, I never actually saw the Mario movie. That is to say, the animated one. You know, actually, I really gotta get I really should consider seeing these movies. I haven't, to be perfectly honest, I haven't seen a movie since everything went cattywampus in our world, you know? The last movie I wanted to see before everything went south was the first Sonic movie, you know? But, you know, things happen, and oh, by the way, I guess I could also talk about Nintendo's desire to raise prices, I guess, on their old systems. Actually, I mean, I don't know if it's a deep fake or not. I mean, it could very well be, because I haven't really seen anything otherwise, but I think the Supreme Court here in the States actually struck down our president's tariffs. Now, I don't know if they can strike down all the tariffs, or if it's going to impact, you know, like, whatever's going on in place, but I don't know. Like, whatever price increase Nintendo might be setting now, I mean, it could quickly change, for all I know. Hopefully for the better. I mean, I guess it kind of does make sense. Like, if you have to raise prices, and if you want people to buy the new stuff, I mean, adding a little bit more money asking price for the old stuff probably makes a little bit more sense, I guess, in that regard. Because after all, I mean, they're still manufacturing these things, you know, and not a lot of people want to make the jump. In fact, of course, I don't know anybody who's still using a Wii U in this era, considering the online has probably been defunct on that thing now, but I'm just saying there's a lot of holdouts, you know, who haven't had the chance to experience much, you know. But yeah, I mean, again, price increases. I mean, we already can't afford things, and, you know, I'd rather not have to do anything illegal or risque to make ends meet, you know. Again, part of the reason I'm doing YouTube. Of course, I think what would really help me out most is if I could find, I mean, different from where I'm living now, maybe get together with, like, at least 3 or 4 other people who are probably in the same boat as I, and basically agree to live under the same roof. I mean, kind of like Big Brother, but not Big Brother, if that makes any sense. But of course, I mean, that probably would come with its own challenges, you know? I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I mean, a dynamic with friends is way different than a dynamic with family, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I mean, I could handle living in the same roof with, like, 3 or 4 other individuals all contributing financially, but, like, you know, that just creates its own set of problems, right? Because, again, we're dealing with friends and strangers here. So, I mean, what if they want to have, like, relations or whatever? And that's probably as far as I'm going to get with that conversation. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, look, people, I know my channel is I know all my videos are marked not for kids, but that doesn't mean I don't want to try to be at least a little clean with my content, you know? I mean, we can't all be like the K-Wings, or, you know, who can keep it under control, or the Grumps who know when to dial it back a bit, you know? Can't all be successful, you know? Oh, man. I don't think I've ever talked this much before. Anyway, we're kind of coming up on time anyway, so yeah, thank you for watching this Tetris 99 video as sort of a, I don't know, chance to unwind, and kind of sort of related to Donkey Kong Bonanza. So anyway, next time we meet, we'll be right back to the regular episodes of Bonanza. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video right here on Zen-Tube. Zen-Tube Gaming. Later.